The sky above the alien world was red, like fire spread across the heavens. The air was heavy, carrying the smell of dust and hunger. Nothing grew on the cracked soil anymore. No trees, no grass, only dry land waiting for death. In the middle of this ruined place walked a mother. She was not human. Her body was tall, thin, and her skin was silver blue, shining faintly even under the weak sun. Her eyes were large, glowing softly like two pale moons. But those eyes were filled with fear and pain and love. Two small children walked beside her, holding her hands. They were her daughters. Their little bodies were weak, their steps slow. Hunger had eaten their strength. Their faces looked tired, but their eyes still shone with hope whenever they looked at their mother. The mother whispered to them, her voice trembling. "Don't be afraid, my little stars. I will find food for you. I will keep you safe." But inside she knew the truth. There was nothing left. The markets were empty. The hunters returned with nothing. Even the rivers were dry. Many families had already lost their children. And she could not let that happen, not to her daughters. That night, as the red sun fell behind the mountains, the mother left her home. She walked far, far away, where shadows grew thick and silence ruled. Her steps carried her to the old ruins where no one dared to go. It was said that in those ruins deals could be made, deals with those who should never be trusted. She stood there under broken stone arches and whispered into the dark. "I will give anything. Anything. Just give me food for my daughters." The wind grew cold. The shadows moved. And then, he appeared. He was not like her people. His body was different, shorter, stronger, with skin the color of pale earth. His eyes were small but sharp, filled with something strange, something that felt alive, dangerous, and yet calm. His clothes were simple, black and gray. His hands carried no weapon, but she felt as if he could destroy armies if he wished. A human. Her people spoke of humans with fear and wonder. They were travelers, rare and mysterious, walking between stars. No one knew where they came from. No one knew why they wandered. But it was said that humans could see deeper than anyone. They could touch what others could not, even the soul. The human looked at her for a long moment. He said nothing. Only his eyes spoke, studying her. The mother fell to her knees. Her silver blue hands shook as she raised them. "Please," she begged. "My daughters are starving. I have nothing left. I will give you my soul. Just save them." The air grew heavy. The human's face did not change. His voice, when it came, was calm, almost gentle. "Your soul," he said. "Do you know what that means?" She nodded, tears running down her face. "Yes, take it. I don't care what happens to me. Let them live." The human stepped closer. His shadow covered her. He reached out a hand and she felt something strange, like heat and cold together pressing against her chest. Then pain. A sharp pull, as if something deep inside her was being torn away. She gasped, her body trembling, and then it was gone. She felt empty, hollow. Her breath came weak, her heart slower. She looked up, and in his hand he held a crystal. Inside it burned a light, the glow of her very soul. The human closed his fist, and the crystal vanished into his palm. In his other hand, suddenly, food appeared. Real food, fresh and warm. More than enough for her daughters. She took it with shaking hands. She could not stop crying. "Thank you. Thank you." The human did not answer. He only looked at her, his eyes unreadable. Then he turned and began to walk away into the shadows. The mother returned home. She gave the food to her daughters. Their faces lit up with joy, their little hands holding the bread and fruit as if it were treasure. They laughed for the first time in many days, but the mother did not laugh. She sat in silence watching them eat, feeling the emptiness inside her. Her daughters hugged her, their voices happy. "You saved us, Mama. You are our hero." She smiled weakly. But her heart whispered the truth. "I am no hero. I am only a shell." Far away in the darkness of the ruins, the human stood on a broken wall. He opened his hand and looked at the glowing crystal once more. Her soul pulsed softly like a heartbeat. His eyes narrowed. Why did he take it? Why did he agree to this deal? No one knew. Not the mother. Not the daughters. Only the human. And as the night grew darker, he whispered to himself, "This is not the end. It has only begun." The days passed, and the alien mother's daughters grew stronger with the food she had brought home. Their faces no longer looked pale. Their small voices carried laughter again. They played outside their broken house, chasing each other on the dry ground. But the mother no longer laughed with them. Her eyes, once warm, had turned distant. She smiled for her daughters, but it was a smile without light. She felt hollow, as if her chest were a cave with no echo. She still cooked for them, still hugged them, still whispered bedtime stories. Yet every word sounded flat. Every touch felt cold. The neighbors began to notice. "She feeds them well now," one alien woman whispered to another. "Yes, but have you seen her eyes? They look dead. Maybe she made a deal in the ruins. Maybe she sold what no one should sell." Rumors spread like fire through dry grass. Some looked at her with pity, others with fear, but she did not care what they thought. Her daughters were alive. That was all that mattered. At night, however, her daughters noticed what the neighbors could not. When the younger girl woke up thirsty, she sometimes found her mother sitting by the window staring at nothing. When the elder daughter leaned close, she could hear her mother's breath shaking, as if she was holding back sobs. One night, the younger daughter whispered to her sister, "Why does Mama look so sad? We have food now. We are safe." The elder girl frowned, her eyes sharper than her age. "I don't know, but it feels like something is missing from her. Like she is not all here." The truth was worse. The mother's dreams had turned into nightmares. Each night, when she closed her eyes, shadows crawled around her bed. Dark figures whispered in voices she could not understand. They reached for her, clawing at her chest where her soul had once lived. She would wake up screaming, clutching her body as if to protect it. Her daughters rushed to her side, crying. She told them it was nothing. "Just a bad dream," she whispered. But the truth was clear. She was being pulled little by little into emptiness. Still, every morning she forced herself to rise, to prepare food, to act strong. But her steps grew weaker. Her laughter was gone. And always, from the edge of the village, eyes were watching. The human had not vanished. He returned often, though never close enough for the others to see him clearly. Sometimes he stood among the broken ruins. Sometimes he walked the dry paths near the mountains. But his gaze was always on the small house where the mother lived with her daughters. The children noticed him first. One afternoon, while chasing each other outside, the younger girl froze. She pointed at a distant shadow standing near a stone wall. "Sister," she whispered, "look." The elder girl turned her head. Far away, the human stood tall, his dark clothes still, his face hidden in shadow. He did not move. He only watched. "Who is he?" the younger girl asked. The elder girl pulled her sister back inside. "I don't know, but I think he is the one Mama made the deal with." That night, the elder daughter could not sleep. She remembered the strange man's eyes, the way they seemed sharp but also sad. He did not look like a monster. But if he was not a monster, why had he taken their mother's soul? The next morning, the daughters followed their mother to the market. There was food now, but at a cost. Everyone was desperate. Some fought over scraps, some begged for crumbs. The mother bought bread quietly, avoiding the stares of others. The elder daughter looked around. She saw suffering everywhere. Families without food, children thinner than her own sister. She thought of the human again. Why had he given them so much food when everyone else starved? Why her mother? That night, her questions grew heavier. While her mother slept restlessly, she whispered to her younger sister, "We need to find out. We need to know why he watches us." The younger girl shook her head, afraid. "No, what if he takes us too?" The elder girl's eyes hardened. "Then we will be careful. But Mama is fading. If we do nothing, we will lose her anyway." And so a plan was born. The next day, when their mother went to fetch water from the well, the daughters slipped away. They walked quietly, their small feet silent on the dry ground. They moved toward the ruins where the human was last seen. The ruins were cold, broken towers and cracked stones covered in shadow. The air felt heavy as if filled with secrets. The younger girl shivered. Suddenly they saw him. The human stood on a fallen column, his back straight, his eyes scanning the horizon. He turned his head slowly and his gaze fell directly on them. The daughters froze. Their hearts beat fast. The younger girl wanted to run, but the elder daughter held her ground even though her knees shook. The human did not speak. He only studied them, his eyes dark but not cruel. For a long moment, silence filled the ruins, and then the elder daughter whispered, her voice trembling, "Why are you watching us?" The human said nothing. He looked at them as if searching for something. Then, without warning, he lifted his hand. In his palm appeared a crystal glowing softly. Inside it pulsed a light, familiar, warm, alive. The daughters gasped. They knew instantly what it was. Their mother's soul. The crystal's light grew brighter when they came closer. It glowed as if it recognized them. The elder daughter reached out her hand, trembling, but the human closed his fist. The light vanished. Not yet, he said quietly. His voice was calm but full of mystery. And then he turned and walked deeper into the ruins, leaving the daughters staring after him, their hearts full of questions and fear. The two daughters never forgot the moment in the ruins. The image of the glowing crystal stayed in their minds like fire burned into wood. They could not tell their mother what they had seen. She was already weak, already broken inside. If she knew the human still held her soul, it might crush what little strength she had left. But the questions grew heavier every day. Who was this human? Why had he taken their mother's soul? And why did he still watch them? Instead of leaving after the deal was done, the elder daughter, curious and stubborn, decided she would find out. The human was not like the others of the village. He did not beg. He did not trade. He did not starve. Every day he walked among the ruins or the dry mountains, carrying strange machines on his back. They were made of metal, glowing with blue lights, whispering with energy. Sometimes he placed them on the ground and tapped them with his hands. The daughters, who followed him in secret, saw the ground itself open under his touch. They saw broken stones heal, metal rise, air shift as if obeying him. He was not just a buyer of souls. He was something more. One night, as the daughters returned home, the elder whispered, "He does not want Mama's soul only to keep it. He is doing something with it, I think. I think humans can use souls." The younger daughter shivered. "That is evil. Souls are not toys," but deep inside both felt it. This human was no ordinary man. The truth began to show itself slowly. The human sometimes left the ruins and walked far beyond the village. The elder daughter followed him one evening, her little sister too afraid to come. She moved carefully, her feet silent, her breath held. She saw him stop in front of a huge broken machine buried under sand. It was older than her people, older than the ruins themselves. A forgotten relic of a war no one remembered. The human raised the crystal, the one that held her mother's soul. He pressed it against the machine, and the dead engine roared to life. Blue fire lit up its veins, and the ground shook. The girl's eyes went wide. That machine was not dead. It was only waiting for her mother's soul. The human stepped back, his face calm but his eyes glowing with strange light. He spoke softly, though no one was near. "It works. Her sacrifice has power. But it is not complete yet," the girl gasped. Her foot slipped on the rocks. The sound echoed in the silent desert. The human turned, sharp as a blade, and his eyes met hers. Fear froze her in place. She thought he would destroy her or steal her soul too. But instead his gaze softened. He did not chase her. He only said in a quiet voice that carried through the night, "You should not be here." Then he turned away, leaving the machine glowing like a heartbeat in the sand. The elder girl ran home, her chest pounding. That night she could not sleep. She told her younger sister what she had seen. The younger girl trembled. "So he is using Mama's soul to power machines? That is worse than I thought." But the elder shook her head. "No, it did not feel like that. He did not use it for war. He woke something old, something waiting. He said it was not complete yet. I think he is protecting it, maybe even protecting us." The younger girl stared at her. "Then why doesn't he just give the soul back?" The elder girl could not answer. Meanwhile, the mother continued to weaken. The nightmares grew stronger. She often woke up screaming, her body trembling, her hands clutching her chest. The daughters held her, trying to comfort her. But it was clear. Without her soul, she was fading day by day. The elder daughter began to wonder if the human was waiting for them, not just their mother. The crystal had glowed brighter when they were near it. What if the soul was not only their mother's? What if some part of it was theirs too? One evening, the human came again to the edge of the village. This time he did not hide. He stood openly, his dark figure visible in the red light of the setting sun. The villagers whispered in fear, pulling their children away, hiding in their homes. But the mother saw him. Her body shook as she stepped outside. Her daughters clung to her arms, but she pushed them gently back. She walked toward him, her steps weak but steady. "Why?" she demanded, her voice breaking. "Why are you still here? Why do you torment me? You took my soul. Leave us alone. The human looked at her silent. His eyes were steady but not cruel. Finally he spoke. I did not take it to torment you. I kept it safe. If I had left it here, others would have stolen it. You gave it away without knowing what it truly means. Her voice rose, filled with anger and sorrow. Then tell me. What does it mean? What are you doing with my soul? For a moment the human's face softened, almost sad. Your soul is not only yours. It is connected to more than you understand. It is part of something greater. And one day your daughters will see why. The daughters hiding nearby gasped. The human's words struck them like thunder. The mother fell to her knees, her tears falling onto the dry earth. I do not care about greatness. I do not care about destiny. I only want to be whole again. I only want to love my children without this emptiness inside me. The human bent down. For the first time, his voice carried warmth. You will, but not yet. They must be ready first. And with those words, he vanished into the shadows, leaving behind silence, mystery, and fear. The daughters ran to their mother, hugging her tightly. She wept in their arms, whispering, "What have I done?" But deep inside the elder daughter's heart, a different thought grew. The human is not our enemy. He is waiting for something. Waiting for us. The nights grew colder and the alien mother grew weaker. Each morning she rose later, her steps slower, her hands trembling as if her body had become hollow glass. Her daughters tried to smile for her, but fear sat heavy in their young hearts. The elder daughter could not forget the human's words. They must be ready first. What did he mean? Why them? The sisters decided they could not wait any longer. If their mother was fading because of this secret, then they had to uncover the truth. The next evening, while their mother slept restlessly, the two sisters slipped out into the darkness. The younger girl carried a small lamp, its weak flame flickering in the dry wind. The elder girl led the way, her face set with determination. They followed the same path they had seen the human take many times, into the ruins where shadows clung like old scars. The ruins felt alive at night. Broken towers stood like teeth against the sky. Old carvings glowed faintly when touched by starlight, whispering stories in a language the girls did not know. The air hummed with a strange energy as if the stones remembered the past. The younger girl shivered. Sister, maybe we should go back. If he finds us, he may take our souls too. But the elder daughter shook her head. If we run now, Mama will die. We have to know. At the heart of the ruins, they found him. The human was kneeling in the dust, surrounded by strange machines. Metal arms stretched upward like claws, glowing with pale light. In the center lay the crystal, their mother's soul floating above the ground, shining brighter than ever before. The sisters hid behind a broken wall, their eyes wide. The human touched the crystal gently as if it were alive. Sparks of energy leapt from it, feeding into the machines. The glow spread across wires and tubes, flowing into a great device half buried in the stone floor. The girl saw symbols light up, lines of power racing outward into the ruins themselves. It was as if their mother's soul was waking the ruins. The elder daughter gasped softly. The sound echoed and the human's head snapped up. His sharp eyes locked on their hiding place. The girls froze, their breath caught in their throats. But instead of anger, the human sighed. His voice carried through the air, calm but firm. Come out. I already knew you were here. The sisters looked at each other, fear and courage battling in their eyes. Slowly, they stepped into the open. The human studied them for a long moment. His face showed no cruelty, only a quiet intensity. You should not follow me. It is dangerous here. The elder daughter stepped forward, her small fists clenched. You have our mother's soul. Give it back to her. The human tilted his head slightly. Do you even know what a soul is? The younger girl cried out, her voice shaking. It is what makes Mama our Mama. Without it, she is fading. She cries in her sleep. She suffers every day. The human's eyes softened. For a moment, sadness passed across his face. Then he stood and pointed at the crystal. Look closely, he said. The sisters turned. The crystal pulsed like a living heart. But as they stepped nearer, something strange happened. The glow grew brighter, warmer. Lines of light spread from the crystal, reaching toward the girls like threads of silk. The elder daughter gasped. She could feel the warmth in her chest, a deep thrum inside her own body answering the glow. The younger girl reached out with trembling fingers and the crystal responded. Its light flared so brightly that the ruins lit up like a sunrise. The human spoke softly, almost in awe. Do you see? Her soul is not only hers.
It is tied to you.
It has always been tied to you. The sisters turned to him, confusion and fear in their eyes. What do you mean? The elder asked. The human's voice dropped low. Your mother gave her soul to save you, but she did not know the truth. Part of it already lived in you both. That is why the crystal shines brighter when you are near. You carry her essence within you. The younger girl shook her head, tears filling her eyes. But if we carry her, why is she dying? The human's gaze hardened. Because she gave up too much too soon. A soul is not a thing to be traded. It is a bond between her, you, and something far greater. The sisters stood frozen, the weight of his words pressing down like stone. The elder girl whispered, her voice sharp with suspicion. Then why keep it? Why not return it to her now? The human looked away toward the glowing machines. His jaw tightened. Because it is not ready. If I return it now, she will be whole for a moment, and then she will break forever. The bond must be strengthened first, and only you two can do that. The ruins seemed to tremble with his words. The crystal flickered as if agreeing. The elder daughter's heart pounded. She did not know whether to trust him or to hate him. But deep inside, she felt the truth in his voice. The glow inside her chest was real. The bond with her mother's soul was real. The younger girl clung to her sister's arm, whispering, Sister, I'm scared. The elder daughter placed a hand on her shoulder. I am too. But maybe this is the only way. The human turned back to them. His eyes, dark yet strangely kind, met theirs. You must choose. Stay afraid and watch your mother fade, or step forward and learn what it means to carry her soul within you. The sisters looked at each other, fear and courage swirling like fire and ash. And then, slowly, the elder daughter nodded. We will not let her die. Tell us what to do. The human gave a small, almost sorrowful smile. He lifted the crystal, its light spilling across their faces. Then the real journey begins now. The ruins were no longer just broken stones for the sisters. After that night when they saw the crystal glow in answer to their hearts, they understood. The truth was larger than hunger, larger than fear. Their mother's soul was tied to them, but what the human meant about strengthening the bond, they still did not know. Days passed. The daughters tried to live as if nothing had changed. They cooked food for their mother, fetched water, listened to her tired stories. But every night the glow they had felt in the ruins returned in their dreams. Threads of light wrapped around them, pulling them toward the crystal. They woke shaking, whispering to each other in the dark. The younger girl clung to her sister one night and said, What if we fail? What if Mama never gets her soul back? The elder hugged her tightly. Then we don't fail. We find out what he wants and we make him give it back. The human returned at dusk. He did not hide this time. His tall shape appeared on the road into the village, his steps calm, his face shadowed by the red sun. The villagers panicked. Mothers pulled their children indoors. Traders closed their stalls. A heavy silence spread, broken only by whispers. It's the human. The soul taker. Why is he here again? But the sisters did not run. They stood at the doorway of their home, their mother weak behind them, her body shaking even as she tried to rise. The human's eyes found theirs. He walked forward slowly like a hunter approaching prey, but his steps carried no threat. They carried purpose. The elder daughter spoke first, her voice trembling but firm. Why are you here again? The human stopped in front of them. His gaze passed over both girls, then rested on the mother. For a heartbeat, his eyes softened, almost human. Then he spoke. Because the time is close. The bond must be tested. The mother coughed, her voice raw. Enough riddles. If you mean to kill me, then do it. If you mean to help me, then return what you took. Do not torture my daughters with your silence. The human shook his head slowly. You still do not understand. If I return it now, it will consume you. You will vanish and they will be left with nothing. His words struck like a blade. The daughters clutched their mother's arms as she sank into a chair. Tears burned her eyes. Then why did you take it at all? She cried. The human's voice dropped lower. Because others wanted it. If I had left your soul in this world, it would already be gone. Devoured by beings darker than you can imagine. I took it to guard it, to give your daughters a chance. The elder girl's heart pounded. She wanted to believe him, but the fear in her chest screamed not to. What chance? She demanded. The human crouched down so his eyes were level with hers. a chance to rise beyond hunger, a chance to carry not only her soul, but the power that sleeps inside it. Do you not feel it when you stand near the crystal? The girl swallowed hard. She remembered the warmth in her chest, the way her body had answered the crystal's light. She said nothing, but her silence was enough. The younger girl finally whispered, "You said we must be ready." Ready for what? The human stood again, his dark shape framed by the dying sun, ready to hold the weight of what she gave away. A soul is not just life. It is memory, strength, hope, and power. Your mother's soul is greater than she knows. It carries a spark the universe itself does not forget. But it cannot be restored until it is woven through both of you. The sisters looked at each other, fear and wonder colliding in their eyes. That night, the humans stayed near their home. The villagers watched from a distance, whispering curses, too afraid to act. The mother sat inside, clutching her daughters, afraid he would steal them away. But the human did nothing. He sat outside by the fire he built, quiet and still, his eyes watching the flames as if seeing something far away. The elder daughter could not resist. She stepped outside. "Why us?" she asked softly. The human did not look up. "Because you are her blood. Because her sacrifice tied her to you. And because humans, we do not believe in death without meaning. I took her soul not to own it, but to return it at the right time." His words were heavy with something she could not name. Guilt, perhaps, or sorrow. The girl sat near the fire, though not too close. Her eyes studied him carefully. "You don't act like a monster, but you also don't act like anyone else. Who are you, really?" The human turned his head slowly, his gaze sharp. For the first time, his voice carried a trace of weariness. "I am only a traveler, a human. That is enough." The girl frowned, but she felt a strange truth in his words. Later, when the fire died down, the human stood and placed something in the dust between them. It was the crystal. It glowed faintly, the pulse of their mother's soul beating like a quiet drum. The sisters ran forward, their eyes wide. Their mother cried out weakly from inside the house, but before they could touch it, the human raised his hand. "Not yet. To return it, you must prove you can carry it. The soul is bound to you both. If you are too weak, it will break you as it breaks her. If you are strong, it will save her and more." The elder daughter clenched her fists. "Then tell us what to do." The human's eyes glowed faintly in the dark. "Tomorrow we begin." He closed his hand over the crystal, and the light vanished. The sisters stood trembling, caught between terror and hope. Their mother wept inside, torn between fear of losing them and fear of losing herself forever. And the human, silent and unreadable, turned back to the fire, his shadow stretching long across the dust. The test had begun. The night before the trial, silence filled the small house. The mother lay weak on her bed, her skin pale silver, her hands trembling when she tried to touch her daughters. She wanted to stop them, to keep them away from the human, but she had no strength left in her body or her voice. Her daughters sat close beside her. The elder held her hand firmly while the younger laid her head against her chest, listening for the faint beat of her heart. The air inside the house was heavy, as if the walls themselves carried sorrow. The elder girl whispered, "Mama, trust us. We will bring you back. We will not let him take you forever." Tears filled the mother's eyes. She tried to smile, but only managed a faint curve of her lips. "You are still children," she said softly. "This weight is not yours to carry." But deep down she knew the truth. The human's words had pierced her heart. Her soul was tied to them. If they did nothing, she would fade. If they were strong, she might live. At dawn, the human returned. He stood outside their home, the rising sun burning behind him like a crown of fire. The villagers watched from a distance, whispering, fearful. None dared to come closer. The daughters stepped out to face him. Their small bodies looked fragile against his tall shadow, but their eyes burned with determination. "Show us," the elder girl demanded. "We are ready." The human studied them silently. His dark eyes revealed nothing, yet the faintest trace of respect flickered across his face. Finally, he nodded. "Follow me." He led them deep into the ruins, past the broken towers, past the glowing carvings, into a chamber hidden below the earth. The walls were covered in symbols older than time, glowing faintly with energy. In the center stood a great stone circle, carved with spirals that seemed to move on their own. The human placed the crystal in the middle. It floated above the circle, glowing brighter than ever. The ruins trembled, the air thick with power. This, the human said, his voice echoing, is where the truth cannot hide. Here, the bond will reveal itself. The sisters clutched each other's hands. Their hearts pounded, but they did not step back. The crystal pulsed and threads of light shot out like living strings wrapping around the girls. Warmth filled their chests, then spread through their arms, their legs, their eyes. Their bodies shook. Images rushed into their minds, memories not their own. They saw their mother as a child running through green fields that no longer existed. They saw her laughter, her first love, her pain, her hope. They saw her hunger and her desperation the night she made the deal. The younger girl cried out, "I feel her. I feel all of her." The elder held tighter, tears streaming down her cheeks. "She's not gone. She has always been with us." The human's voice rang clear in the chamber. "This is the truth. A soul is not just one life. It is a river. It flows into children, into blood, into memory. When she gave me her soul, she did not know she had already given it to you." The girls fell to their knees, overwhelmed. Their bodies glowed faintly, the same silver blue as their mother's skin. The bond was alive, stronger than they had ever imagined. The elder looked up at the human, her voice fierce even through her tears. "Then why does she suffer? Why is she dying?" The human stepped forward. His eyes, usually sharp and cold, now burned with sorrow, because the bond was broken too soon. She gave away the part that connected her to you. Without it, she is hollow. But if you two can carry it now, if you can hold her essence within yourselves, then it can return to her without destroying her. The younger girl gasped. "You mean we must share her soul?" The human nodded slowly. "Yes, it will live in all three of you. Not as it was before, but as something greater." The chamber shook violently. The crystal pulsed faster, brighter. The air grew heavy, pressing against their skin. The human's voice rose above the sound. "Now is the moment. Reach for it. If you falter, she will fade forever. If you are strong, you will save her." The sisters screamed as they reached toward the crystal. Light seared their hands, burning yet not harming them. The glow wrapped around their arms, pulling deep into their chests. Their bodies shook as if lightning coursed through them. They saw more visions of themselves as infants in their mother's arms, of the moment she traded her soul, of the human catching it before the shadows could devour it. The younger girl sobbed, "It hurts." The elder held her close. "Don't let go. Mama needs us." The human watched silently, his jaw clenched, his hands trembling, though he did not move to help. At last, the crystal split into 3 streams of light. One flowed into the elder daughter, one into the younger, and the last into a glowing thread that shot upward, toward their mother, far above in her bed. The chamber filled with blinding light. When the glow faded, the sisters collapsed, breathing hard. Their bodies still glowed faintly, their eyes shining with new light. Above them, in their home, the mother gasped and sat up. Strength filled her body. Her eyes blazed with life for the first time since the trade. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "I feel whole." Back in the chamber, the human picked up the now dark crystal. It was empty, lifeless, only stone. He closed his hand around it and looked at the sisters. "You did it. The bond is restored, but now you carry it too. Remember this. Your lives are no longer only your own. Her soul lives in you, and what you do will shape more than this village. It will shape worlds." The girls trembled, fear and wonder mixing in their hearts. The elder whispered, "Why us?" The human's eyes grew distant, heavy with secrets. "Because the universe has chosen you, and because humans, we return what others only take." The village woke to whispers. Strange light had filled the ruins at night, bright enough to turn the dark sky silver. Some said it was a storm. Others said it was the end of days. But in one small home, something greater had happened. The alien mother, once hollow and fading, sat upright on her bed. Strength ran through her body. Her skin shone again, her eyes alive with fire. Her daughters clung to her, crying tears of joy, their own bodies glowing faintly as if carrying pieces of starlight inside them. For the first time in many weeks, the house was filled with laughter. But outside, silence pressed heavy. The villagers stood at a distance, afraid. They had seen the human walk with the daughters into the ruins. Now they saw them return changed, shining, stronger, carrying a secret too large to hide. The mother held her children close and whispered, "You saved me. You gave me back my life." The elder daughter shook her head. "It wasn't only us, She looked outside where the human stood in the shadow of a broken wall. He gave it back. The human watched from afar, silent. The crystal that once held the mother's soul was dark in his hand, no more than a piece of stone now. He turned it over, then closed his fist around it and let it fall into the dust. Its purpose was complete. He should have left then. That was his way. Take nothing, leave nothing, move on. But he did not. His eyes lingered on the family, on the daughters who now carried sparks of their mother's soul. Something about them held him still. The mother stepped outside, her legs unsteady but strong enough to carry her forward. She faced the human with eyes full of pain, gratitude, and questions. "Why?" she asked. "Why return what you could have kept? You held power over me, over us. You could have been our master." The human's face was calm, but his eyes were heavy. "Because humans are not what you think. We do not take to rule. We take to protect, and when the time is right, we return what was lost." The villagers gasped at his words, some muttering in disbelief. The elder daughter stepped forward, her voice trembling but steady. "Then what are you really?"
Why us? Why stay?
The human looked at her for a long moment. The fire of the rising sun caught in his eyes, making them glow. At last he spoke. "Because the universe is not kind. There are beings who feed on souls, who grow strong on sacrifice. Your mother's gift would have been their feast. I could not let that happen. You were chosen by chance or by fate. Perhaps both. But now the bond between you three is stronger than anything they can break." The younger girl frowned, clutching her sister's hand. "But if there are others who want souls, will they come here?" The human silence was answer enough. That night the family gathered by a small fire. The mother's hands no longer trembled. She held her daughters close, their warmth filling her with peace. But deep inside, fear lingered. If what the human said was true, then this was not the end. It was only the beginning. The daughters whispered to each other as the fire crackled. "Sister," the younger said softly, "do you trust him?" The elder looked at the fire, her eyes reflecting its glow. "I don't know. But he gave back what he could have kept. That means something." The mother listened quietly, her heart torn. She did not want to trust the human, yet she could not deny the truth. Without him, she would be gone. Outside, the human stood watch beneath the stars. He did not sleep. His eyes searched the horizon, waiting for shadows that might one day come. He had returned the soul, but in doing so, he had lit a fire that others would see. At dawn, he prepared to leave. The daughters ran to him, their faces full of questions they could not put into words. The elder finally spoke. "Will we see you again?" The human's lips curved in the faintest smile. "Perhaps. When the time comes, you will need me again. Or perhaps I will need you?" The younger girl frowned. "But we don't even know your name." He looked at her for a long time. Then he shook his head gently. "Names do not matter. Only choices do." With that he turned and began to walk toward the mountains. His figure grew smaller, swallowed by the horizon until only dust remained in his trail. The mother and her daughters stood together, watching him vanish. Silence stretched between them, heavy with both relief and uncertainty. The elder whispered, "What is he really?" The mother held her daughters close. "Something our people will never understand. But remember this, not all who take are thieves. Some take only to give back." Her daughters nodded, though their young hearts still burned with questions. And far away, the human walked on, his shadow long in the morning sun. He carried no crystal now, no stolen soul, only the weight of his choice. He had returned what was not his. But in doing so, he had awakened something larger. For in the quiet of the ruins, the machines he had touched began to stir again. Lights glowed faintly in the stone, waiting for the daughters who carried their mother's soul within them. The story of one family was ending. But the story of something greater, something human, something alien, something shared was only beginning.